Oh, life, Alex life. All right. What's that light on? Why is that fucking not that bright? Like the sun. All right. What's up, guys? All right. I feel talking about, honestly, the worst poison that you can create on your own, you can take. The only thing of all the bad things that anybody can have, right? By will, against your will, don't fucking matter. It's to feel inferior. I can't stress this enough. I can't stress it just enough. This is just like I I got sick of it. I got sick of people that surround me that they feel less. Uh, To feel inferior, right? I I don't get it. I disagree. It's repulsive. Mm, no. And I understand there's a lot of factors that might play that people justify that feeling, right? That answer, that self affirmation. And I feel inferior because I have no money, no status, no all that garbage that's trending, right? And I disagree. If there's something that I can just leave to my children, right? Female and males, daughters and boys, it's one thing, right? It will not be like if you guys want to go to college, you guys can go to college. If you guys want to become whatever you guys want to become, it's good, right? Make your own decisions. But if there's something that I can make a decision for you guys, and I will stress and I will bring it up as many times that I have to bring it up, is that never feel less than nobody. Don't feel inferior, right? And I think it's kind of like embedded in a lot of people, and sometimes people can't help it. I think a slavery mindset is not really passed on. It's not really programmed like we think it is. Okay, I've been programmed to be a slave, blah blah blah. I think a lot of people love it. I think this is why a lot of corporations take advantage of this, and they do what they do, right? Because people, they just like to be inferior. They like to be, you know, walk all over them. And I always love to talk about this, right? Then if you don't know where to start, right? Like actually, like literally, if you're lost, too lost, you hit rock bottom, wherever you're at, you just don't know what to do, what to start, what to believe in, what to read, what to talk about. There's something I can share that I've seen it with myself and with other people at different environments, different locations, states, is that when you feel inferior, there's nothing we can do about it, right? If you're like uneducated, you don't have skills, you don't know how to read, you don't know how to read blueprints, you don't know about law, whatever subject you lack knowledge, it's nothing bad. It's just like, okay, we can prepare you for that. But when you feel inferior, it's a decision that you already made inside you. It's a decision, a confirmation that you already gave to yourself. And nobody can take you out from that. Nobody, right? Including God. Nobody can take you out from there. And I think that's the most dangerous personal trait that anybody can have, right? I don't care how ugly you are. I don't care how broke you are. If you just feel inferior, right, it's something that is just like disgusting, right? We can sense it, we can smell it, right? We can perceive it, right? It's just it's in front of us, right? So if it's something that I can leave to my family, my children, is never feel inferior. Never. I don't care what your situation is. Don't feel inferior. Just don't feel inferior. They might call you delusional. They want to apply some reverse psychology to throw you off, right? So you can come back to the path of their own personal agenda. And this is just a mechanism that people will use against you once they know that you really feeling good about yourself. Not only feeling good, but you really tapping into your own power, right? And the first step and the only step is to not feel inferior about nobody. If there's a millionaire next to you, a billionaire next to you, all right, don't be disrespectful, but don't act like under it. Don't act like you guys are different at a very energy atomic level, because we are the same. In reality, based on society, there's the difference because of the status of the money, right? But if he could achieve it, if he did it, you can do it, but in a different way, not necessarily his way, right? Don't compare yourself to him. But the whole point is not to feel inferior, right? Your boss, your supervisors, your managers, I don't care who they are, right? Don't feel inferior. That's the wrong approach in life, in every situation, relationships, jobs, anything. You feel inferior, automatically, you're putting yourself to be defeated in everything without even trying. That's the point. I wanted to talk tonight about, even if you're sick, right? Sometimes, okay, we want to give up because we're sick and it's taking long to recover. But even that, don't feel inferior. Okay. It doesn't make it better, it makes it worse. I promise you, it makes it worse. If there's something, if you, I don't believe that there's some such thing to fake confidence, but if there's something that can put you close to confidence is that don't feel inferior. Just don't feel inferior. I can give you an example. When you don't feel inferior to other people, you have the ability to say no without remorse, without hesitation. You say no. Just you don't feel guilty, shame. I just don't know. You say no, I don't know. Right? It's just something, man. When with myself, with people, it's just something when you see somebody who feels inferior because they think that it's their status, their looks, their situation that determines who they are at the moment, and they think that's who they are permanent for the rest of their life, and that's a lie. That's a big lie, right? And it speaks major words, right? When you don't feel inferior, it's something like some electricity going around you, something going on. What's up, dog? I know some dudes with inferior complexes. It's hard life for them. It is. It is, bro. It is. It's for me. It's the only thing that has no cure, honestly. And I'm not making fun of people who have real diseases, but I believe that cancer, AIDS, you name it, arthritis, any disease that's so mortal can be curable, but inferior complex cannot, right? Not even close. There's like literally nothing, right? Not a tea that you can take and make you feel better. Like this is the only thing, the only moment that you can only take yourself out of that situation. I believe and I know that any other situation there can be some help, right? alien help, family help, whatever. But that inferior complex, it kills you, bro. It just kills you and destroys you. It destroys every aspect about you, honestly. It destroys you. Every aspect. Every aspect. And I think it people talk about this, but I think there's something trending about how to beat inferior complex or how to do something about it. And the first thing is just like go to the gym. Matter of fact, I know people going to the gym actually, working out, and they still feel like they're inferior because there's something rooted more deeper than what we think it is. Right? Pumping iron, I'm not saying it will not help, but I don't think that would be the right approach to get yourself out of that incurable cancer from your soul, from your higher self, you know, inferior complex. And sometimes we get it from our family. I ain't gonna lie. Like sometimes you see family and you see how they act, and sometimes you think that's the best way to go about it with other people, especially with other ethnicities and people from different backgrounds, right? They tend to show you as a kid, as a son that I was, that you have to be humble and you have to be of service, right? And that is just kind of like the borderline to become a slave and without even knowing it, right? You get too humble that you just get crushed and you just like you start degrading yourself, and then sometimes you take it too far that you just don't know how to come back. That's why I don't believe in being humble. I don't believe in being, yeah, humble. That's another one. I think that being humble, it's another mistranslation for being a slave, a sophisticated slave. Honestly, in my opinion, right? It's not about being arrogant either. It's not. It can be a neutral ground. Right? You don't know something. I mean, you don't get upset. I don't know it. What am I going to do about it? Right? I can learn it, but if I'm not interested, I'm gonna say no. I don't want to learn that because I'm not interested in that. I think that's a very positive thing, and it's showing you that you don't have inferior complex, right? Inferior complex, you literally have an excuse for everything, and I don't know. It's very sad, man. It's sad, and I've talked to my children, my other two big boys that I have. I don't talk to them too much, but I drill them every time I see them, right? Don't worry. You're gonna have status, right? If you're like getting to experience new things, new jobs, new people, and you don't know, right? You're young, 17, 18 years old. But there's one thing that you don't want to have, right? And you don't want to develop. It's inferior complex. You don't want to develop that. When you see people with status, people who have their stuff together, apparently, don't envy, don't get jealous, don't be asking how they did it. Just keep a neutral ground, right? Saying that everybody has their moment and everybody has a different stage, right? You can't compare yourself because you don't know what people are going through and what they went through, what they're doing, etc. So inferior complex is kind of like accepting that you're never gonna make it. And that's a very powerful confirmation that you don't want to give yourself, because that's the only time when literally the universe grants that desire from you. You say, I want to be rich, the universe doesn't give it to you for some reason. But if you say, I'm a loser and I'm going to stay like this, it's so crazy. The universe grants you that, right? For the rest of your life. Mm. Until you decide not to be no more. Mm. Works like magic, huh? But yeah, but inferior complex, I'm not gonna lie, it just like it has something to do with growing up with your family, right? Sometimes family gets in the way. Sometimes family, especially if they believe, right, that working hard, it's the way out of poverty, of a miserable life. Now I'm not saying hard work doesn't matter. It does matter when you're working towards you, right? When you're working hard toward your goals, right? Not to somebody's agenda. But when you create your own agenda and then, okay, I'm going to work hard for myself. Okay, if that includes working 9 to 5 for a certain period of time, that's okay. But at least you have it in the calendar. So there's going to be a few months, few years that I'm going to have a corporate job, and then I can make my own moves. That's different, you know. But when I see, young kids that tell me, you know what, my parents, they don't want me to do this. They don't want me to do this. They say, I need a job. I need two jobs because I need to make money. I need to pay my bills. And I think that's just enforcing the inferior complex, in my opinion. It's just reinforcing it, right? And you'll be surprised how many people think that it's not a real issue, right? I've never met a sick guy who's not only sick physically, but who's not only sick mentally, right? I've never met a guy who's like, okay, I'm depressed or I have chronic disease, and they just feel shitty about themselves. It just goes hand by hand, right? It's just so crazy. It's crazy. I'm not criticizing that diseases don't exist, but I think you reinforce it with feeling inferior. Yeah, comparing yourself. This is the thing about brothers, right? I have a lot of brothers, and I know a lot of people have brothers too. Family, big family. If you come from a big family, one of the things I found out about gatherings, having gatherings, barbecue with family, it is cool. Don't get me wrong. I believe in family. I advocate for family values, but sometimes family values don't come from the family values that you come from. It's not the values that your parents have passed on to you, right? We grew up, we educate ourselves, we have our own experience, our own brain, and we get to see a lot of things like, okay, this has no value, right? This is not what I want. This has no value in my sense, right? In my own knowledge, and we can discard it, right? And this is when family will get mad, and this is when I have a saying: family sometimes is an obstacle, okay, more than a comfort thing. But what is a family? I'm talking about family, the family you grew up with. I'm a big believer in Nor that the best family that you will become and you will create is the one that you get after 18 years old, right? One family is the one that you grew up with, and the other family is the one that you going to start meeting after 17, 18 years old. Those start become the real family, right? And it goes on, goes on. Because when you're children, you have you're just limited. We're limited by our parents, and for the most part, we're just like told what to do most of the time. In school, at our house, and it's not until we become an adult and we start making our own decisions, even though with consequences. But this is how we learn, right? We start using our own brain. And yeah, I I really feel sick about inferior complex because I think it destroys more than any cancer or any disease combined. I do. I do believe. Right? They drain you, right? You can't even talk to them. You can't. You can't be near those people, right? You have to be apart, like it's COVID-19, right? And it's just like poison. You don't want to get infected, but you know that's life. Good thing you know how to walk away. But inferior complex is very sad, real, and sometimes your friends have it, your family has it, and you need to step away. Okay, you can get infected by that quickly. It's just contagious. Okay, it is just like people who feel great about themselves. That's contagious too. You want to get contaged by those people, right? Not by the other people. All right? Bro, do you like what? But yeah, talking a little bit, of my own experience with feeling less about somebody. And do I believe that our certain people have more developed? They have more of that thing going on. I do believe that. But then people start becoming it more like racist, right? And I want to refrain to be misinterpreted like that, but sometimes it is. Right? Sometimes it's something that it's just kind of like some people have it more than other people, right? And this is why they take advantage of people. And that's why I don't believe in being humble. I think being humble is just another word of being slave, right? And they love that word in religion. Mm, they love it. That's why I'm not religious. I read the religion, but I'm not religious. Right? I read anything that is crazy to read and is hard to read just to understand how these masters control these slaves, right? These religions. Because enemies become teachers. Believe it or not, enemies become teachers. Yeah, I said it. And it's not until you start hating them, right? Getting angry at them, you get to learn from them. Like these times, we live in crazy times where people criticize Jews, right? Matter of fact, I already had two warnings about. I was talking to other, I don't know, past videos about Hitler or some, and I got two warnings. I'm like, damn, okay, it's okay. I mean, I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm not making money. It's just me talking, right? But it's like Jewish people, like they just right now we are in the time where they're receiving a lot of hate, right? They control everything. They control the media, the courts. They fucking own more than 80% of the world resources and blah blah blah. Okay, there has to be a reason why. These people just don't control that just because they're just lucky. They don't. And I learned that when I was incarcerated. Instead of hating the system, hating the prosecutors, hating the Supreme Court, I start studying them. Right. And yeah, they're corrupted. Of course, they're corrupted. I'm not saying they're not, but just blaming on corruption is not going to solve anything. I need to understand where did the corruption start from. But I think I got a little bit astray from my point. Of being having inferior complex. And all my girl says, "You are everywhere." Of course, you know everything's connected. That's my answer. But yeah, guys, there's something you can teach your children, your beloved ones. It's like don't feel less than nobody, man, and you just don't have to claim it. It's not something that you just go out and scream and shout it. It's something that internally, kind of like having a candle inside of you, right? And then you're just glowing. There's a light without saying anything. That's kind of like when you have a good self-esteem, you don't have inferior complex. Like you can't fake it. Like you just can't just say it. Right? You just be. You just are. Okay, and they'll know that. Now, millionaires will know that. People who have status, when they will look at you, they will know that you don't have an inferior complex. Okay, and sometimes you'll be surprised how many times they will share their experiences, how they became millionaires or how they became successful. Right, but when you have an inferior complex, kind of you have like a sign. I'm a loser. Don't talk to me, and they won't talk to you. Right, they won't talk to you. But when you work with yourself and say, okay, where do I get this inferior complex from? So you're gonna write it down if you can, if you want. So you're gonna write it down. Okay, who is telling me to be humble all the time, to be nice all the time, to be kind all the time, and to avoid confrontation, and not to be risking or not to be in problems that are gonna cause me. So anybody in your family, anybody in your surroundings who's making you think that you live in a bubble where you can avoid everything, confrontation, you don't know how to talk your mind, you don't know how to speak your mind, you don't know how to talk to a law enforcement when you have to, when you don't have to, you don't have to, right? But all these exercises will lead to this question: where did I get my inferior complex from? Okay. You need to start introspecting which of your parents, friends, co-workers, supervisors, managers, religion leaders, who are these people drilling on your mind, telling you that you have to be humble, you don't have to talk back, you have to say yes to everything. And when you ask an explanation or at least some facts, some data, because I said so, okay, you need to be careful with people who demand you to do something because they say so. That's the first thing I've learned. That parents do this all the time. That's why I always analyze, introspect that I don't fall into that garbage to my children, right? Whenever I told my children, I want you guys to do this because I said so. No, I cannot even remember when was the last time I said that. I don't know, probably more than 10 years ago, right? It's something that I'm proud of myself that I master more because it got me more results, beneficial not only for me but for my kids and loved ones, and even for friends and co-workers and strangers, because I said so. you know I think that's a answer that comes from somebody who's being restricted, and he's just passing on their ignorance to their loved ones. And I think that's very real, and it's something that can be fixed, right? We don't want to pass on ignorance to our children, guys. We just don't want to do that. We want to raise our kids with knowledge that they allow them to question things, right? We want them to question things, right? And you will see them. You will see your children go out there exposed to the world, and they will not feel scared to talk to anybody, right? And once you start treating your children like you own them, like, oh, because I said so, you start seeing something they're being suppressed, something that's being suppressed. And that is not going nowhere. It's just stacking up, stacking up, stacking up until just like it cannot be hold anymore. Right. And it's nothing but destruction, spiritually, physically. Nothing good comes from that. And everything stems from inferior complex. Okay. It stems from that. Mm. I remember when I didn't have a vehicle. I think one of my kids told me, "Man, you don't have a vehicle, right?" And people will say, "Man, doesn't that make you feel? Doesn't it hurt you?" I said, of course not. He's being real. He's speaking his mind. Like, you don't have a car. That what's going on? That's good. That's very good. I love it. Right? I love it when people keep it real, including my children. I love that shit. Can't deny it. So I think inferior complex stems from people who are just scared to speak their mind, or they have been programmed to not question everything because in their eyes that's wrong, right? Especially in religion, in anything, honestly, in anything, right? I even question, my girls, my baby mamas, or whatever it is. It's just the way it is. What's your past? What was your life before me? People say, man, that's too much, but that's me. I just like to do that because I want to know what am I getting into, right? So I'm not gonna pay the price from other things that it's not my business. Right? But yeah, inferior complex, it's a disease that was created on your own and can only be cured on your own, right? And the wonderful thing, it can be cured like this, right? You just have to be a little bit angry with yourself, not with people, but with yourself. Why am I being too docile? Why am I being too humble? Why am I being too nice? Right? Starts with a little bit of anger within you, right? That you just like, I don't want to be this person that I was told to be. I want to stop, right? And when you want to stop, it's just like when you have a message, all right, from an unrecognized number, right? You put stop and automatic, okay, boom, you're being unsubscribed, you're being whatever. They don't text you no more. It just happens immediately, right? And you can do the same thing, honestly, right? Inferior complex will get you luck with women. Okay. I've never met a woman that has slept with people, with men, because they were shy or timid, right? Most of them with friends, with myself, with my brothers, most of them, they slept with my friends and brothers and myself because we were risk takers. We were not timid or shy. Matter of fact, we had a little bit of arrogance at that time. Right? It's just crazy. There's so much benefits that comes from not being inferior. Okay, you're gonna get pushback. They're gonna tell you who you think you are. Okay? You're nobody. And this is when you're going to get tested. And this is when people say, I want to go back to my old thinking. I want to go back to like, yeah, this doesn't work. No, no. If you didn't get pushback, that means it wasn't working. That means that you never took that step. But if automatically, when you take that step, it's only one step. It's only one step. Okay. You recognize, right? The being the victim of people's ignorance can be solved. You have the power to do that. And the first sign is gonna be they're gonna reject you, your family, friends, people who know you. You're acting weird, bro. You're delusional. You're acting wrong. That's you're gonna get pushback, and that's a good thing. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it until you become numb. You become numb to it. Okay. You become numb to it. I've never met nobody being humble got somewhere. Never. Mm-mm. They love to tell you that at church. They love it. Mm. But once you see them in real life, you see them, they're not that humble. Mm. They're not. Believe me, 100% true. Right? So it's always the words that they're trending, you have to be careful. Always. This is what I've recognized. Whatever's trending in social media, the words like right now, alpha, status, gym, right? All this words, manosphere, all these words hold a truth, right? But once you stop for a second and say, okay, where does these words come from? Okay. A lot of times you're going to see that a lot of things you already possess. Okay. Okay. I don't have to worry about this. Okay. I don't have to worry about that. Because if you start falling into the victim of these social trending things, right? And I mentioned it before, to be somebody, you have to have status. And this goes to what I'm talking about. When you have an inferior complex, you tend to feel some type of way if you have a millionaire next to you. Okay. That's how it is. That's just how it is. Okay. When you have people walking by, driving their nice cars, you shouldn't feel nothing about it. You shouldn't feel not even admiration or jealousy or envy. It should be neutral to you. Like it is just okay. This is what people do and people have when they are at their moment. Okay. You don't compare yourself because everybody's in a different stage. And this is what I think social media does. It's just inevitable. They don't say it, but it's just inevitable for you not to compare yourself. Okay. And this is when you fall into this victim mentality again, inferior complex. I'm not doing this. I'm not achieving this because I'm stuck in this. I'm stuck in that. I said it before. The value of a man, the value of a human being is coming from that womb, coming from that water canal, right? From that vagina, whatever you want to call it, you already a valuable person. As soon as you hit your first breath, you already have value. You don't have to search for anything else. Other than that, you just have to grow, use your brain, gain experience, and this is just adding more value to your value. Right? That's why guys have to be careful with this trending things because you never know who's promoting who, right? A lot of people sold out for money. You know who they are. You know, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 8 years ago, they were talking about this and they were so good, but now they switched, right? Yeah. Yeah, they get threatened, with prison, with money. And this is when people lose it. Okay. And that thing is inferior complex too, because they don't want to go back to zeros, right? They don't want to go back to zeros. How many people say, well, I can lose everything today, I'll be the same one? Yeah, but you're not losing it. Lose it, throw it away. This is when you see a true person who's being a true gangster. Oh, I can lose my mind. I can lose everything. I'll be the same. But do it in front of everybody so they can see. So just don't say it, but they don't do it. They don't. All right. Only a few people know it. Do it. A few people will lose everything and they will prove it. I'm still the same one. Okay. I'm still the same one, regardless of your validation. That's true self esteem. That's true self esteem right there. Inferior complex, you cannot lie. It's just like it's there. Once you know you're infected by that, you just cannot lie. You can't run away from it. It follows you. No? Mm. And for the first time, you will experience true freedom. Okay. Because now you're walking the same earth that everybody's walking. Period. Okay. Period. You can look at that millionaire and say, okay, he's a millionaire. I can be a millionaire in my own time and my own will and my own stage and my own pace, but I will be. You can do that and keep moving. All right. Keep moving. That's what it is. That's how it is. All right. How many of us have seen people? I've seen a lot of homeless people with fucking like very fucking, I don't know, very convinced that they're like, I mean, I'm homeless and they have just an attitude, right? Not all of them, but a few of them. They're still happy. They're still like saying jokes, and you're just like, man, this guy doesn't know that a little bit of more effort, hard work on himself, he would get of this situation. But we can see it for some reason, right? Right. And this is, I know it's possible because I've seen it with people who have nothing, but they still hold their grounds. I was incarcerated for 9 years, right? They strip you from everything. Okay. And sometimes a lot of cops, a lot of law enforcement, they look at you like you're happy, right? You're doing your thing. You're trying to be the best version of yourself locked up, you know? You're talking, having good conversation with yourself, with your cellular, with people, general population, whatever. Sometimes they walk and they tell you, I thought, that they're mad, they're angry. Sometimes as an inmate, you respond, I thought I was the one locked up. You know, this tells you this is real, guys. You guys can be apparently be in a good, environment, but there you might have some issues inside you, right? And this all stems from inferior complex. If I lose it all, is my family gonna leave me? If I lose my job, is my wife gonna still be at home? All this people deny and they don't want to talk about this. But this is the true talk. This is the true conversation. Uh, I made a video about having a job from tonight is just a slavery mechanism. It's another fucking sophisticated slavery technique. And people say, I think you're lazy, blah, blah. I was getting a lot of feedback, blah, 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 right? And I think a lot of people are scared because they know the moment they lose their jobs, the moment they lose their business, whatever they thought it was their family, it's gonna disappear. It's just gonna fade away. And they're scared to accept that because they're living a lie. Okay. They're just living a lie. An inferior complex has to do with everything. Okay. If I lose everything, can I still talk the same? Can I still be the same person? Can I still operate with a clear mind? Okay. And start gaining again my material gains little by little. That's true self esteem. That's true power right there. Okay? But you will not know it until you lose everything. That's the whole thing. Okay. People can claim, oh, if I lose, I can come up. You don't know until you lose it. Okay. People say, okay, my girls, if I go to prison for 5, 10 years, my 10 wives are going to be waiting for me. You don't know. You don't know. Everybody says that until they go to prison. After the second year, they're getting divorced. Okay. Committing suicide on the shoe. So yeah, I've seen a lot of clowns saying that. So it is hard, man. It is hard to claim that you have it, but you don't have it until you lose it. Then when you come back again, then you have it because you lost it. But if you haven't gone through, you just can only assume. Okay, you can only assume that, oh, I'm strong mentally, I have resilience. But it's not until that experience comes, then we'll see. Okay, then we'll see. Then we'll see how I'm really are. Inferior complex is just it's just a motherfucker. It's just a motherfucker. That's why I don't follow religion. I don't believe in a lot of things that people believe in, and that's okay because I think a true man, a true person, it's the one that, regardless of the outcome of things, he can still stand up and think for himself. That's the whole thing. What's up, Jesus? Jesus loves you. Yeah. So yeah, guys, it was just short night today. Inferior complex. Don't feel inferior, right? Now, people are gonna say, well, if I feel superior than other people, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be truthful. To wrap it up, once you get out of this inferior complex garbage, there's gonna be a time when you're gonna look at your surroundings, and for some reason, you might have that sensation about that you don't want to be there because people there are like, you think they're like, no, I'm superior. I'm above these people, right? Don't blame yourself. Don't think you're just being an arrogant piece of garbage. You're not. It's just a confirmation that now you operating without the veil of this victim mentality. And you can see people who are comfortable in that environment. It's not for you to judge or criticize, but it's just a quick observation about you like, man, I was there and I was comfortable at that place. Like, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. And you move on. Okay. So it's just a quick window. It's a quick feeling about, like, you know what? I remember when I had this victim mentality about blaming everybody, the system, but myself. And you just move on, keep going. Okay. It's just a quick reminder how you used to look when you had this victim mentality and this inferior complex. So the universe and the world shows you very quickly, right, how you used to operate. Okay. So you can have a clue, okay, some demonstration of how you looked. Okay. And it's not to judge people, it's not to try to help everybody. I don't believe in helping people. I believe that you get out of your own hole, right? You get out of your own ditch, you on your own. You have your body, you have your brain. I believe in help, but it comes after you're helping yourself. It doesn't come before that. Okay. I'm going to repeat it again. Help comes after you're helping yourself, not before. Okay. Because I know a lot of people, oh, I just want to help now. People know you're interfering with their growth. Once you get to another stage in your life, you feel like you want to help people, but it's not your time to help people because you still going into another stage. You still evolving within your own brain and your own life and experiences. You might be surprised to understand this, but people learn more by watching you than by you teaching them or helping them. Okay. If you learn how to walk, if you learn how to tie your own shoes, how to ride your bike, people are watching you. You need to understand that we humans possess the most magnificent power, personal power. It's called observation. Okay. It's a weapon that everybody's born with it. Observation, just like babies. The more you talk to a baby, the less he understands. The more you do in front of him, the more he grasps and he remembers what to do, the more he learns. Okay. The more you talk, the more he wants to imitate you, how you talk. But if you tell him, say this, say that, then you're just, confusing him because he has his own brain. He has his own pace on how to do things. And this is how you have to be careful with these fucking doctors and all these people who want to put you in this spectrum garbage bullshit, right? Oh, he might have spectrum if he's doing this, if he's doing that. No, everybody has their own personality, guys. Right? Everybody has their own personalities. Oh, and another thing to wrap it up. I love this one. I applied it everywhere. How do you know you have a wonderful self-esteem and you no longer possess inferior complex? One clear sign when you know how to confront professionally professionals. Okay. Let's say you go to the doctor, you go to a lawyer, attorney office, you go to anywhere, somewhere when there's a professional, whatever profession it is, you let them talk, but you're not afraid to let them know that you disagree with that. Okay. Without hesitation. This is a clear sign that you have conquered that cancer called inferior complex. When you now, for the first time in your life, without getting mad, okay, without getting emotional, you know how to respond without hesitation to a professional. That includes law enforcement, everybody. You know how to respond to them in a proper way, appropriate way, without hesitation. This is when you have conquered that garbage that you've been passing on to generations, right? This degrading thing that it's embedded in your brain, in your blood, and you have snap out of it. This inferior complex about thinking that everybody knows except you. Everybody has their own opinion, their own knowledge except you. For some reason, you were born with no knowledge, no brain, no experience. So everything that people tell you, you have to believe in. All right. And when you start questioning these things, they look at you like you are the enemy. You are the terrorist. Right. We should be careful with you. Okay. This is all just reverse psychology. You have to be careful and aware with that. Okay. They now cannot control you. So they gonna push back and tell you names, labels, and you just like, I think you're just misinformed, blah, blah, blah. So here, guys, wrap it up. This is the first clear sign that you got out of this disease, inferior complex, when you can confront in a professional way professionals. You can engage with them in a conversation and without hesitation disagree. You tell them, I don't believe that. I know so. Okay. And I'm going to go with a no. Okay. When you disagree without hesitation, and you can agree without hesitation either, works both ways. Right. This is a very clear sign, guys, that you have it and you should be proud of yourself. All right. Good night, guys.